Hello and welcome. You're watching the news track. I'm Rahul Kamal. We're not discussing the semi-final of cricket. Instead, we're discussing the semi-finals of politics. We looked at Madhya Pradesh in detail in the political stock exchange yesterday. Today, we look at Chhattisgarh. Campaigning coming to a close in Chhattisgarh and in Madhya Pradesh. What's the scene like in the tribal state of Chhattisgarh? The Prime Minister making a big push, going to the village of Birsa Munda, the tribal king in Jharkhand. What impact might that have on the tribal seats and the non-tribal seats in Chhattisgarh? And what's the overall big picture in this semi-final? That and more coming up in this edition of the Political Stock Exchange.
Curtains down on MP and Chhattisgarh campaign. Who has the edge in state of war? Will Prime Minister's tribal outreach benefit BJP? Election intelligence helps you decide. Deep dive into big 2024 semi-final. Political Stock Exchange. Big focus on News Track.
The Prime Minister today paid tribute to tribal icon Birsa Munda on his birth anniversary. This significant tribal push comes at a crucial time as both Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh go to polls on the 17th of November. Both these states have a substantial tribal population, and the question that analysts are tracking very carefully is how will this tribal outreach play out on the day of polling?
Honoring a tribal icon at the state level and extending a hand to tribal communities. Prime Minister Narendra Modi pays homage to Birsa Munda, a revered tribal freedom fighter. Born in November 15th in Ulihatu, Khunti district in what is now Jharkhand. Birsa Munda's movement rallied tribal communities against colonial oppression.
आज का दिन सौभाग्य से भरा हुआ है। मैं कुछ देर पहले ही भगवान बिरसा मुंडा की जन्मस्थली उलीहातू से लौटा हूं। उनके परिजनों से भी बड़ी सुखद मुलाकात हुई है।
Since 2021, the central government has marked Birsa Munda's birth anniversary. Prime Minister Modi's tribute to the tribal leader aligns with election campaigns in Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh, states with substantial tribal populations. Tribals constitute around 31% of Chhattisgarh's population. With 29 of the state assemblies, 90 seats reserved for ST candidates. Among them, 17 ST constituencies will vote on Friday in the second phase, along with 53 other seats. Adivasis make up 21.1% of Madhya Pradesh's population. Of the 230 constituencies voting on November 17th, 47 are reserved for scheduled tribes. Historically, Congress has performed well in tribal areas of both states during past elections. The Prime Minister's outreach in Jharkhand included inaugurating a memorial garden dedicated to Birsa Munda.
मुझे संतोष है कि आजादी के 75 वर्ष होने पर अमृत महोत्सव के दौरान हमने ऐसे वीर वीरांगनाओं को याद किया, उनकी स्मृतियों को अगली पीढ़ी तक पहुंचाया। मेरे परिवारजनों, जनजातीय गौरव और संघर्ष के प्रतीक भगवान बिरसा मुंडा की गाथा हर देशवासी को प्रेरणा से भर देती है।
The Prime Minister also launched the Prime Minister Janjati Adivasi Nyay Mahabhiyan with a budget of around 24,000 crore rupees and laid the foundation for projects worth around 7,200 crore rupees in Jharkhand. A strategic engagement in Jharkhand when tribal votes in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh can sway the outcomes. Bureau Report, India Today.
Meanwhile, the war of words over Prime Minister Modi's Murkhon ka Sardar jibe at Rahul Gandhi has escalated. The Congress MP has reacted himself, saying the more the PM abuses him, the more he feels he's doing the right thing.
अरे मूर्खों के सरदार, किस दुनिया में रहते हैं ये लोग?
That was Prime Minister Narendra Modi mocking Rahul Gandhi. At an election rally in Betul, Madhya Pradesh on Tuesday, Modi lashed out at the Congress MP over his claim on the dominance of made-in-China mobile phones in India.
एक महाज्ञानी कांग्रेस के कह रहे थे कि आप सबके पास मेड इन चाइना मोबाइल फोन होता है। अरे मूर्खों के सरदार, किस दुनिया में रहते हैं ये लोग? कांग्रेस के नेताओं को अपने देश की उपलब्धियां न देखने की मानसिक बीमारी हो गई है।
On the last day of campaign in Chhattisgarh's Baloda Bazaar, Rahul Gandhi reacted to the Prime Minister's jibe.
नरेंद्र मोदी जी आते हैं, जहां भी जाते हैं मेरे बारे में गलत शब्द प्रयोग करते हैं, गाली देते हैं, मुझे उल्टी सीधी बात करते हैं। अच्छा है, मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता।
Modi's Murkho ke Sardar jibe at Rahul sparked angry reactions from the Congress, while the BJP backed the Prime Minister.
चुनाव की पहले ही प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी चुनाव की नतीजा आजमा ले चुके हैं, इसलिए बौखलाए हुए देश की प्रधानमंत्री जी की जुबान से भद्दे भाषा निकलने लगी।
पूरा भारत का लोग जानते हो क्या है। आपने उनका संसद में देखा होगा कैसे प्रधानमंत्री जी का तरफ सलाह जाते थे, कैसे वो कोई मोहब्बत का दुकान और मोहब्बत एक साथ हो सकता है क्या? और अपने आप को एक एंग्री यंग मैन का तरफ वो दिखवाना चाहते हैं। तो इसीलिए मेरा लगता है कि प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जो बात बोला है वो तो भारत वर्ष का हर लोग जानते हैं, सबका मन में वही है।
The Congress returned fire, calling Prime Minister Narendra Modi झूठों का सरदार।
देखिए, कुछ लोग ऐसे होते हैं जिनको पढ़ने लिखने की आदत नहीं, जिनको जो कागज दे दिया जाए वो जाके पढ़ देते हैं। भाई बहन आजकल यही करते हैं। राहुल जी तो बिल्कुल अनाप शनाप झूठी बयानबाजी करते हैं जिसका सच्चाई से कोई लेना देना नहीं। अब जो काम ऐसे करेगा वो क्या कहा जाएगा?
Coming from the Juto ka Sardar, it shows the arrogance of Mr. Modi, and Mr. Modi always wants to divert from the real issues and goes personal against the political leadership.
The personal attacks have come at the fag end of a long campaign. Madhya Pradesh is voting on Friday to elect a new government. Bureau Report, India Today.
Campaigning has come to a close in Madhya Pradesh and in Chhattisgarh. A total of 300 seats up for grabs on the 17th of November. We looked at Madhya Pradesh in great detail in the political stock exchange that we got you yesterday. Today, I want to look at Chhattisgarh. I want to introduce the guests joining me for this discussion. We've got Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, squaring off against her. Adil Singh Boparai, national spokesperson of the Congress. For perspective, we've got Dr. Jawahar Surisetti. He's been writing for the India Today group on the politics of Chhattisgarh, well-known political analyst. We also have Dr. Sandeep Shastri, national coordinator at Lokniti Network. And we've got Amitabh Tiwari, who's an election analyst and researcher, and he's been contributing a lot across our platforms as well. I want to go across and do the ABCD of the Chhattisgarh elections to give you a sense of how the parties are placed before the 17th of November in this, the crucial second phase of elections. 70 seats up for grabs. In the last elections that happened in Chhattisgarh, on these 70 seats, the Congress had picked up 51, the BJP only 13. A lot of blue in the northern and central part of Chhattisgarh, a lot of blue, very little saffron on the map of Chhattisgarh last time around. I want to do a quick strength scan, and remember, like I told you yesterday, what this does is give you a sense of how many safe seats does a particular party have in the seats that are up for grabs on the 17th. A particular seat, if it's won thrice in succession by the same party, is defined as a safe seat. The BJP has 5 out of 70 safe seats. So very few safe seats for the BJP in Chhattisgarh in the second phase. It has 10 weak seats. By weak seats, we mean seats which have been lost by that party in every election over the last 3 elections. So there are 10 weak seats, 2 relatively safe, which means seats which have been won by the BJP twice in the last 3 elections, and 2 that are relatively weak, seats which have been lost by the BJP twice in the last 3 and only once in the last 3 elections. So unlike Madhya Pradesh, the contrast to draw is Madhya Pradesh was very strong saffron territory. In contrast, Chhattisgarh isn't quite as strong a saffron bastion as Madhya Pradesh was. Let's now look at the Congress's strength scan. The Congress on 70 has 6 seats they will call safe seats, seats which they've won in every election over the last 3 elections. 6 weak seats which have been lost by the party in every election over the last 3 elections. 12 are relatively safe, seats which the party won twice in the last 3 elections, and 12 are relatively weak, seats which the party won only once in the last 3 elections. So that's a quick strength scan of the Chhattisgarh polls, where polling will be held on the 17th. If you look at the swing seats in Chhattisgarh, in phase 2, 59 seats would comprise swing seats. Swing seats are those where the winner changes in every poll over the last 3 elections. Those are defined as swing seats. There were 59 out of 70 swing seats. The Congress won 45. So very large number of swing seats won by the Congress. The BJP only 8. And Chhattisgarh is very important because this is the one state where the Congress hopes to come back to power. Usually, wherever the Congress has been in power, the BJPs managed to beat them. If the Congress and Bhupesh Baghel are able to retain Chhattisgarh, it shows that the Congress has some kind of a model of governance which voters, at least in Chhattisgarh, chose to back, and that's how the Congress got voted back. Amitabh Tiwari, I want to start by getting you to outline what you think are the most important factors that will determine what happens on the 17th. The Congress hoping for a repeat of the Baghel government, but the BJP has given it its all. They've really gone all guns blazing. Despite the polls showing Baghel leading, the BJP trailing, they've really gone all out, including the Prime Minister's big Birsa Munda remembrance today, trying to reach out via the tribals of Jharkhand to the tribals of Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh and win them over. How much of a difference could this make, Amitabh Tiwari?
Yeah, so the Congress performance has been improving over the years in Chhattisgarh, and contrary to MP and Rajasthan, it has higher number of stronghold and lesser number of weak seats here. However, Chhattisgarh has always been a very close election. You mentioned about the high number of swing seats where Congress holds maximum of the swing seats. So if the trend continues that the Congress is in the risk of losing these 40 odd seats, then the victory margins in Chhattisgarh have always been close. 34, 33 and 19 seats in the last 3 elections. The others, which is parties like the BSP, GGP, JCC, etc., have won more than the victory margin in almost 40% of the seats, 40% plus seats in every election. So Chhattisgarh has always been close. It seems to be reverting to the mean of close elections. Now the ST reserved seats play a very important role. Incidentally, even when Congress lost in 2013, it was leading in the ST reserved seats, and that's 29 of them. So the BJP, through the Prime Minister, has announced scheme for tribals to woo the community, because without making a dent in the ST reserved seats, which is largely in Bastar, and also this time of the 70 seats, some 9 are reserved in the northern part, which is adjacent to the Jharkhand. This is very crucial for BJP to make a comeback or make the election close. So 2018 could be an aberration, and we could see a reversal to the mean wherein we could see close contests again. The Mahadev app application corruption allegations could have an impact in the central region, which largely consists of...
Let me put that question to Jawahar Surisetti. The BJP going all guns blazing on the issue of the Mahadev app scam targeting Bhupesh Baghel. In your view, with the person with your nose on the ground, do you think that's made an impact in the last few days of the campaign? And what did you make of the Prime Minister's outreach at the village of Birsa Munda in Jharkhand? How much of an impact could it have in neighboring Chhattisgarh?
So, as I had said the last time before the first phase, where the most of the tribal seats were there, the Mahadev app has died down. If you see on the ground, the BJP has also not made many pronouncements on the Mahadev app on the ground. So, I think does not make much of a difference. And as I said earlier, corruption does not hold ground in Chhattisgarh as of now. Yes, there is going to be more than the phase 1 because most of the urban seats are in the phase 2. So there is going to be a urban educated population which will look at corruption through the lens. So I think it will be more than phase 1, but not a significant.
What about the Birsa Munda remembrance and the impact this may have on tribal voters in Chhattisgarh, not just in tribal reserved seats, but tribal dominated seats as well?
So again, majority of the tribal dominated seats have gone to the polls on 7th. Only 9 are left, but I think it does hold ground on those 9 seats, and he's made a very smart move.
Okay. Adil Singh Boparai, this sense that Chhattisgarh may be reverting to the mean of a tighter contest, the 2018, the Congress picking up 65 seats, that is the outlier. You may not get that kind of a decisive mandate. It will be a far tighter fight between the Congress and the BJP, even though Bhupesh Baghel is hoping to do an encore.
Well, Mr. Kamal, what you're witnessing in Chhattisgarh is pro-incumbency. What you see on the ground in Chhattisgarh is a vote for continuity, a vote for development, a vote for inclusive politics, a vote for every section of society. I think the people of this country, and you will see this in the election results of all these 5 states, have repudiated the politics of lies, rhetoric and misinformation of the Bharatiya Janata Party. I think that will be the indicator when the results are declared. Point number 1. Point number 2, we have gone to the voters with our performance, with our delivery. And I can give you several parameters on which Mr. Baghel's government has performed very well. You'll be surprised to know that the Congress's Chhattisgarh government and the state has the lowest unemployment rate in the country. When it comes to employment generation, Chhattisgarh is leading the pack vis-a-vis all other states in the country, number 1. When it comes to agriculture, when it comes to women and child development, when it comes to infrastructure building. So these are the parameters on which the people of the country and the state eventually vote on. How long can lies and rhetoric mislead the people of this country? And as far as our guarantees are concerned, the Congress Party's manifesto is emphatic. We will give 15,000 rupees into the accounts of every woman. We will ensure that 500 rupees is given into the accounts of women when it comes to refilling their cylinder. We will increase the procurement rates for paddy and other crops. We are improving the law and order. And as far as the BJP is concerned, Mr. Kaval, the BJP is rudderless. There is no line of leadership.
Okay, so now Sanju Verma, this is what is at stake essentially. The Congress typically in the Modi era has been voted out after being in power. They haven't been able to win a state back. If Bhupesh Baghel is able to lead the Congress to power in Chhattisgarh, it will prove what Adil Singh Boparai is saying, that the Congress too can have pro-incumbency. The Congress too has a model of governance that voters want to vote back. And that would be, it's a small state relatively speaking, but that's a big message.
You know, Rahul, I just want to say a couple of things which will put the entire Chhattisgarh electoral battle in its proper perspective. First and foremost, you know, for you to say that BJP has never quite, you know, done well in Chhattisgarh ever since Prime Minister Modi took charge as the tallest leader of the country, I think that is a fallacy, and I'll tell you why. do note that in Lok Sabha 2014, from Chhattisgarh, the BJP got 10 out of the 11 seats. And in 2019 Lok Sabha, we got 9 out of the 11 Lok Sabha seats. So I think our performance has been more than commendable. And don't forget that last time in Lok Sabha 2019, our vote share was, 59.07% to be precise. And the Congress, despite having a vote share of 34.24%, virtually failed to make a dent into BJP's Lok Sabha bastion as far as Chhattisgarh goes. Point number one. Point number two, I heard some gentlemen saying that corruption is not a big issue and, on the ground, people really don't care about the Mahadev app scam. I think that's a whole lot of hogwash. And I say that with no offense to none. I'll tell you why. I've heard some journalists also saying, who's this Shubham Soni? He just made some video and said, I've given money to Bhupesh Baghel on behalf of Saurabh Chandrakar, who's one of the co-founders of Mahadev app. Anyone can make a video and make reckless allegations, but that does not hold water. Here, the allegations have not been made by just some Shubham Soni. The Enforcement Directorate has interrogated and more than 6 to 7 smoking guns have been found.
But the Congress will turn around and say, what about the video and audio of Devinder Tomar in Madhya Pradesh, where he's on record?
You did not interrupt.
No, I know, but I'm saying that's a question that will be thrown at you.
Yes, but why is it that you have to heckle the BJP? Can't you ask me the question after I'm done?
Well, you spoke for a long while before I interrupted. Sanju ji, you spoke for a long while before I interrupted, but go on.
I did not speak for a long while.
Okay.
You clearly have no sense of time. Can I finish?
Yes, please do.
Thank you. Smoking gun number 1. Abhishek Pallav, the ex-superintendent of police of Durg, a very important district of Chhattisgarh. Smoking gun number 2. Again, another SP, Prashant Agarwal. Smoking gun number 3. The man who has said that, yes, Bhupesh Baghel is the recipient of dirty money from the Mahadev app scam. Chandrakant Verma. Smoking gun number 4. Another senior police inspector, Bhim Singh Verma. And smoking gun number 5, Vinod Verma, who has been the advisor to the Chhattisgarh CM Bhupesh Baghel for the longest time. So let us not, take what Shubham Soni is saying on board. But are you saying that 4 senior police officers who have clearly named and shamed Bhupesh Baghel, including Vinod Verma, the advisor to Bhupesh Baghel, we should simply dismiss what they are saying? And most importantly, Rahul, the Congress, I will take 30 seconds more. Rahul, this is not fair. I did not heckle this man. Who's this man?
Okay, so you've spoken, Sanju Verma. Okay, you've laid. Okay, let Sanju Verma complete her chain of thought. Just 1 second. Adil's fader goes down. Give her 20 seconds. Let her complete a point. Very quickly, Sanju.
Thank you. Rahul, I just want to say one very important thing. The Bhupesh Singh Baghel government said, "Hum 200 food park banayenge Chhattisgarh mein." Not even a single food park has been established. Today, for A grade basmati, the MSP is 2,203 rupees. And do you know the Bhupesh Baghel government is procuring paddy at 1,200 and 1,300 rupees? Why is it not procuring paddy at 2,200, which is the official price fixed by the Modi government? You said you will give 3,000 rupee unemployment allowance to the unemployed graduates. You've not given a single penny. Then you said we will give 1,500 allowance to the young women, the Griha Lakshmi. You've not given a single penny to the young women of Chhattisgarh. You've not, held on to your promises with respect to benefiting the unemployed youth. You've not even benefited the Tendu leaf pluckers. Tendu leaf.
So now, would you concede, Adil Singh Boparai, that in the last few weeks, the BJP has been able to pull back some ground? Initially, when the campaign started, it seemed that Chhattisgarh was a lost case from the BJP's perspective. But for what it's worth, they've invested the energy and the equity, and they've, at least to the extent that they can, shored up their fortunes to make Chhattisgarh far more exciting and interesting than it seemed initially. Adil.
That question to me, Mr. Kanwal.
It is.
Mr. Kanwal, firstly, let me respond. Corruption is certainly an issue. And one of the glaring issues which is facing this country and which every person is talking about is Narendra Singh Tomar's corruption scandal. You don't need a smoking gun there. There is videographic evidence. That evidence is enough to register a crime. That evidence is enough for the CBI and the Enforcement Directorate to swing into action. So therefore, through your platform, on behalf of the Congress Party, I ask the Prime Minister, why is he quiet on the unflinching, irrefutable evidence against Narendra Tomar, who is a cabinet colleague with him? Point number one. Point number two, Mr. Raman Singh's government was neck deep in corruption. The people of Chhattisgarh have not forgotten that. On the contrary, I gave you a metric, and this metric is verifiable. When it comes to employment generation, when it comes to ensuring that there are means and avenues for youth's development and providing them with gainful employment, the Chhattisgarh government has topped the chart. And this is not just our data, this is Government of India's data. When it comes to tackling price rise, we are doing whatever is necessary and whatever is capable as far as the state government is concerned. Coming to the BJP's lack of leadership, today the BJP does not have a leader.
Okay, so Sanju Verma, you want to respond to Congress's charge? One second, because you made the allegation on the Mahadev app, you didn't answer the question of Narendra Singh Tomar's son, against whom now multiple videos have emerged, including a confirmation from the person on the other side of the video saying that the charges are true.
Okay, Rahul Kamal.
There is an investigation by the ED. Where is Mr. Modi's ED
Okay,
today?
let Sanju respond. Where is the ED? Where is the CBI? Sanju Verma.
Want to be an advocate where you don't give equal voice to the BJP. Can I please come in now?
Let Sanju Verma speak. Adil's fader goes down. Sanju.
Thank you. Rahul, do you vouch for the authenticity of the videos that have been emerging with respect to Narendra Singh Tomar's son? Yes or no?
No, but it's not my job to vouch. It's the investigating agency's job to do their job.
Yes. So let me now finish. Please now don't heckle me. That's exactly the answer that I wanted to hear from you. It is the job of the ED, the CBI, the income tax, or any probe agency, what have you, to decide on the veracity and the authenticity of a video once it's out in the public domain. The fact that it's not just Shubham Soni's sting video, but in the case of Bhupesh Baghel, a money trail has been established. Asim Das, one of the accused, has said he delivered 5.39 crore, and we have proof that more than 539 crores has directly found its way to Bhupesh Baghel. There is a money trail, proceeds of crime, and mala fide intent. All three have been established. If Adil Singh Boparai cannot vouch for the authenticity of the video that insinuates and makes allegations that Narendra Singh Tomar's son, he has no business talking about.
Let me put that question to Sandeep Shastri. Sandeep Shastri, these are serious charges. They've come at the tail end of the campaign. In your experience, does a charge like the Mahadev app scam or the Devendra Tomar video from Madhya Pradesh, does it percolate down deep in rural society enough to make a difference? Or do you think that this is, of course, good for TV and there's a back and forth around it, but it doesn't impact voter behavior much? What's your sense? Sandeep Shastri.
Rahul, we have seen this in the past also. A bulk of the voters make up their mind as to whom they wish to vote for, often much before the campaign begins. So, and this is not just about one election or one trend. We have seen this happening for quite some time. Unless a particular development closer to the poll, in a sense, buttresses what they have already believed in, yes, it has an impact. Otherwise, unless the people see that evidence on the ground in front of them, it may be a little difficult to see the impact of that. The second point, Rahul, I'd like to make is, in important ways, both Sanju and Adilji were right. But the difference is, we are seeing in India now a very clear difference between a national election and a state election. Many of the points which Sanjuji made about the national leadership would be very true when it comes to a Lok Sabha election. But when we are talking of a state election, it is about local issues, it is about local perceptions, and there is this feeling that the tribal vote, the Dalit vote, which had long been with the Congress, are there enough indications of that having moved Now that I think would be the critical question, and that was also discussed by your own correspondent who was in the field on that particular matter. The last point I would make, Rahul, is based upon the survey evidence we have. The voter in Chhattisgarh is very happy about several central schemes, be it the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana or the Ayushman Bharat Yojana or the Ujjwal Yojana. However, the surveys also say when it comes to electricity supply, when it comes to schools, when it comes to hospitals, when it comes to roads, when it comes to tribal development, there generally is a thumbs up for the government at the state level. And our data also shows that on corruption, there are question marks that the voter is raising. So I think there is a mixed bag of issues which seems to be impacting.
Okay.
And we would need to see how they play out against each other.
Sumi Rajapan is in our bureau in Chhattisgarh. I want to go across Raipur at this moment. Campaigning has come to a close. Sumi, you've tracked this campaign from the first day. Describe the ebbs and flows that you saw and how you think this battle looks from your point of view once the last rally has been concluded.
Yes, absolutely. The last day of campaigning looked very colorful, and in fact, they were raising their sharpest knives at each other when it comes to the blame game. But what it looks like on the ground is it is going to be a very close call, and Chhattisgarh is going to witness the 5th election this time around. And in the last 4 elections, barring 2018, it has always been a close call. In fact, back in 2013, the vote percentage between both the parties was less than 1%. In fact, it was 0.75%, and the seat difference was 10 seats. The BJP had gained 49 seats, the Congress had gained 39 seats, and it got reversed in 2018 when the Congress had gained 71 seats, but the BJP was restricted till 15, but the vote difference was 10%. So barring 2018, every other election has been a close call, but this time around it looks very different. In fact, the Congress had anticipated that after the announcement of the farm loan waiver, there will be a wave that will be there in their favor. But certainly that is not the case within the farmers as well. The farmer community looks very confused at the moment, and in fact the women are miffed. They are miffed because the Congress had promised them a liquor ban, and in fact desperate times called for desperate measures back in 2018, and Congress desperately made that promise of a liquor ban and couldn't deliver that. In fact, gave multiple reasons as to why they couldn't deliver it. This time around, women have picked up that issue, and in fact, women are going to be a dominant role. In fact, they will be playing the dominant role because they've outnumbered the male voters in Chhattisgarh, and it is going to be interesting. And when it comes to the youth have been displeased. The unemployment allowance of 2,000 that were promised to almost 17 lakh registered unemployed youth, the allowance is going only to 1,30,000. These are the official numbers because of the stringent rules and regulations that have been put forth under the scheme. Despite the lowest unemployment of 0.1% in the state, the youth have been miffed as well. So, and there is a third front that is also going to play out in the elections, which is why all of these factors put together is going to make this battle a very close call. And in fact, who is going to have the last laugh, that remains to be seen.
Amitabh Tiwari, as an aggregate, do you think these assembly elections are likely to be more exciting than the Lok Sabha elections, given the unpredictability of the result in Telangana, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh? Therefore, it just seems that there is more uncertainty, more excitement in these semi-finals than there is in the final in April, May next year.
Yes, it seems to be a tighter contest than the 2024 Lok Sabha elections as of now. And at least, I would say 4 states are encountering a tight contest, including Madhya Pradesh, Telangana, Chhattisgarh, and Mizoram. See, what we have to see is that unemployment and price rise are one of the key election issues, despite the fact that the rate is low, which means that the Congress party has not been able to communicate its achievements with respect to these 2 points. That's number 1. Second is that I beg to differ with Sandeep Shastriji. 1/4 of 12 to 15% of the voters will decide on the date of the voting, and 12 to 15% 2 to 3 days before voting, as per CSDA's National Election Studies. which means 25 to 30% of the voters are going to decide just 2 to 3 days before polling. And that's a big number to swing any election in a state which has always seen a very close election. And the closing point is that there is a high level of churning in Chhattisgarh. 60 seats, 60% of the seats change hands every election, despite BJP winning in 2008 and 13, which gives rise to the point that there is a high level of local anti-incumbency. That's why the Congress has changed 22 MLAs. 30% of its sitting MLAs have been changed. So there is a high level of local anti-incumbency. Satisfaction
Let
level
Jawahar Surisetti explain that to our viewers. Why is Chhattisgarh so different from Madhya Pradesh? Madhya Pradesh electoral trends seem far more settled. It's a younger, newer state, sure, but their trends seem to be quite unsettled relative to Madhya Pradesh, where the trends, the regions seem to be more settled and more predictable.
Yes, Chhattisgarh is not predictable, and agreeing to the fact, the difference is very clear that in the 15 years of the BJP rule, a lot of things had happened in the state which were very good. And that is how it ruled for 15 years. But after that, in the last 5 years, they couldn't hold ground, and that's the reason why Congress came to power. The same thing is seen happening again after 5 years with the Congress. The same issues of corruption, lack of development, etc., are seen in these 5 years. The problem here is either the leaderships of both the parties have a lethargic term of 5 years, in which they try to ignore after coming to power. This happened in the last 5 years. The first 10 years of BJP were excellent. So this is one thing and second good thing that has happened is, if 23 MLAs have been changed, that's a sign that somebody is waking up to the public sentiment, which is good, because BJP we were thinking that BJP would change all the candidates, and that was the idea that was given. But we continued with the same old guard, which were present in the past government, which lost, which is something of a disappointment for the state as of today. So I think the changes in the Congress and the changes in the BJP are some things which make it a very close fight. The BJP going up and the Congress coming down, they meet at the middle ground.
Sandeep Shastri, the one big trend in the heartland elections, which is different from what we've seen in the past, is the BJP is going in without any clear face in Chhattisgarh, in Rajasthan and in Madhya Pradesh. The Congress is going in with Baghel, with Kamal Nath. In Rajasthan, it's a bit fluid. They're fighting under the leadership of Gehlot, promising that Sachin is also the face for the future. Does this hamper, in an assembly election context, the prospects of the BJP, where voters are saying, "Bhai, chehra kaun hai, who will come?" Or do you think the existence of the Prime Minister and the electoral machine is enough to overcome the handicap of not having a clearly defined face?
Rahul, what the BJP's strategy is in these states is very similar to what we saw in Karnataka earlier. Of late, the BJP has adopted the strategy of going into a campaign under the leadership of the central leadership and not necessarily naming a chief minister candidate. And this is clearly a strategy which they have planned so that the central leadership is the one which leads the campaign. Now, it did not work in Karnataka, because in Karnataka we clearly saw the impact of local issues, and it'll be and this is one of the interesting ironies, Rahul. In Rajasthan, where the Congress party is in power, they have not declared a chief minister candidate, and in Madhya Pradesh, where the BJP is in power, they have not declared a chief minister candidate. So a sitting government, that party seems to hesitate in projecting its sitting chief minister. And this is true for both the Congress and the BJP, which in a sense speaks volumes of the capacity, of the confidence that the parties have in the leadership at the moment in their respective states.
Okay, final words, Sanju Verma. What are you most worried about? Before the 17th, what concerns you the most?
Rahul, I just want to say one thing, that while Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he is the tallest leader of the country, more so for the BJP, and is a game changer when it comes to changing an entire narrative. I think this time, the corruption charges against Bhupesh Baghel will continue to stick, and I am reminded of that excellent interview by your colleague, I think his name is Saurabh Pandey from Lalan Top. The moment he asked Bhupesh Baghel, forget about the Mahadev app scam. He spoke about Suryakant Tiwari, the businessman very close to Bhupesh Baghel and involved in the coal levy scam. Bhupesh Baghel was squirming. Then when he asked about Soumya Chaurasia, the IAS officer who has had to step down after being involved in the coal scam and is a very close confidant of Bhupesh Baghel was shifting shiftily in his seat when your colleague Saurabh Pandey asked Bhupesh Baghel, why did he change the delivery of online coal levy and royalties to royalties being now delivered manually in this day and age? Is it because he wanted to bring in opacity rather than transparency? Again, Bhupesh Baghel had no answers. Unke muh mein Fevicol jam gaya. And I want to say that don't forget, apart from the 5,000 crore plus Mahadev app scam, there is the 600 crore Chawal PDS scam. There is the 2,161 crore liquor scam, which the ED and CBI are interrogating, and where Bhupesh Baghel is purportedly one of the biggest beneficiaries.
Okay.
And most importantly, I just have to say this, that as Prime Minister Modi says, तुम्हारे पांव के नीचे जमीन नहीं है, लेकिन कमाल तो ये है तुम्हें यकीन नहीं है, भूपेश बघेल के पांव के नीचे से जमीन खिसक चुकी है और उनको तो इल्म अंदाजा तक नहीं है, and that will be his undoing.
Adil Singh Boparai, final words from you. Would you concede that the Congress's prospects are better in the semi-finals than in the finals? You know, there's a semi-final taking place in cricket. There, India in a commanding position, but here the opposition and the government both in contest, quite different from what is generally expected might happen in 2024.
Mr. Kanwal, take it from me in writing. The Congress party is winning with a 2/3 majority. All naysayers will have to eat humble pie. And as for the BJP, repeating a lie 1,000 times does not become the truth. The people of this country have seen through your shenanigans and your lies. We are cognizant that agencies are misused, and the
You are
people
living in La La Land.
People have seen an exemplar of the son of your cabinet minister seeking 1,000 crore rupees on electronic evidence. And they have seen how...
You vouch for the authenticity of that video because you keep talking about it.
Why is she interrupting?
You vouch for the
Okay, Sanju Spader goes down. Let Adil speak. Adil, go on.
BJP's delusion. The fact of the matter is, we are going to the hustings with our performance chart.
Okay.
We are going to the hustings with our performance when it comes to loan waiver, when our performance comes to employment generation, healthcare, women's security. And this is what is going to take us past the finishing line, not the BJP's lies and the BJP's arrogance, which you just saw.
Okay, so you've heard from the opposition, you've heard from the government, you've heard from the pundits. Now we wait to hear from the voter. For joining us in this edition of the Political Stock Exchange, thank you very much. We'll track what happens on the 17th very closely. 70 seats in Chhattisgarh, 230 seats in Madhya Pradesh, one of the biggest days in this semi-final.